GT the Vibe Podcast coming to another episode. Bang! Gotta get him. Dr. Phil, we're going to talk about gaslighting and the covert narcissist a little bit. This is going to be broken down into a couple parts episode as we kind of listen and respond back and forth with Dr. Phil. I like a lot of stuff that he has to say. I like his breakdown of stuff, man. He's golden. Definitely. So I've experienced something sort of similar to this. Um, so I have some understanding in it, but having him break it down to help me gather myself and understand, my mindset on it as well, and get some more facts behind how I feel about it. He's talking about gaslighting and the covert narcissism. Gaslighting is a key ingredient to narcissism. Um, Honestly, I mean, they say people with borderline personality disorder gaslight. I don't think they gaslight near as much as a narcissist does. I think people with narcissistic personality disorder gaslight a lot. But people with borderline personality disorder, they gaslight to some degree, but it's not as crazy as you may get from a narcissist.
Feelings of inferiority. So, what you're seeing when you're dealing with a narcissist in general is a false sense of superiority. Somebody that's really powerful, somebody that's really smart, somebody that's really skilled, really good at something, they don't need to tell you all the time how smart and good they are.
You literally just know it.
Well, hello. You have found your way back to Fill in the Blanks. This obviously is Dr. Phil filling in the blanks. Last episode, we started a series talking about toxic personalities that you encounter in your life, and I introduced you to the narcissistic personality disorder, particularly, and narcissism in general. Now, let me tell you what I'm going to do today. And as I said, I want this to be a conversation, and I'm going to invite you to do two things. If you haven't subscribed to Fill in the Blanks, do so now. You can hit the subscribe button, and it will give you alerts whenever we drop an episode so you don't miss anything.
Subscribe.
I really want this to be more of a conversation, like you and I were sitting around talking about this. And I'm going to ask you to submit any questions because for the next episode, I'm going to specifically answer your questions or respond to your comments. Now, I'm going to be talking about different personality disorders, and I've started out by talking about the narcissistic personality disorder. I'm going to do a deep dive this time on a subset or a certain type of narcissism, the covert.
Covert, kind of like special ops, kind of cause that has that. It's somebody who is like basically an undercover. It's an undercover narcissist. It's somebody who is narcissistic, has narcissistic personality disorder, but they're not on the grandiose scale. They're not super out there, super in your face. You 100% know without a shadow of doubt this person is 100% a narcissist. Like you're not going to get that vibe from them. They're going to be a little bit more covert in their actions, but these are some of the most dangerous types of narcissists. These individuals, because of their covert nature, um, they hide in plain sight, essentially.
Narcissist. And I'm going to do a bit of a review of what we talked about last time, just real quickly to bring this back current in your head. Now, first off, let me say there's a difference between being a narcissist and having a narcissistic personality disorder. A narcissistic personality disorder is a specific diagnosis that you find in the DSM-5, and that means that you have to fit into certain criteria. It says you have to have it for so long, you have to check certain boxes, etc. A lot of people might not meet all the criteria for that diagnosis, but that doesn't mean that they aren't narcissists. I think all human behavior is on a continuum.
Yep.
And then subsets of human behavior are on a continuum. Narcissism is on a continuum. It ranges from maybe being a little narcissistic to being woefully narcissistic. It's not like being a little bit pregnant. It's not like you either are or you aren't. So what I'm talking about today is narcissism, not necessarily the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. And you don't care. If you're dealing with a narcissist in your life, you don't care whether they check all the boxes for the diagnosis or not. You care how they impact your life. When you think of narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder, you think about the classic definition of a narcissist. And that's what we talked most about last time. And what are they? Well, narcissists are very grandiose. They have to be the center of attention. They have an exaggerated need for admiration, right? They just need everybody to think that they're special. They're very superficial. They're exploitive in relationships. Now, why do I say that? And I want to just read a list off to you. I want to talk about it so it means something to you. When I say these people are grandiose, they just think they are something special. Better than you, above you. They come across that way. And they have this insatiable need for admiration. They've got to be the center of attention. Everybody has to think they're special. They need for you to admire them and hold them up.
That's one thing that you'll see a lot in narcissistic personality disorders that differs from some of the other disorders out there. One I've named a lot is borderline personality disorder. With borderlines, they don't need to be the center of attention. With narcissists, they have to be. I mean, they do things to make themselves a center of attention. They gotta be admired by everybody. They think that they're on this pedestal. They're more concerned with their image. And so keeping an image that is up there is extremely important to them. So that's what they think about. That's what they care about. And so that's one thing that can separate a narcissist from a person with borderline personality disorder is that a narcissistic person is going to be very, very, they're going to be the center of attention. I mean, pedestalized 100%. Whereas a borderline doesn't need to be pedestalized. They're not going to be pedestalized. That's not how they operate. Covert narcissists need the admiration, and they get it in subtle ways. They do things subtly to get that admiration. Whether it be a man, if it's a male narcissist, that's a covert narcissist. Probably needs a lot of female validation, and so he'll do things to get female validation. He'll say things to females. He'll try to do things around females to be able to get admiration. And I mean, it's fuel. It's fuel. Obviously, there are levels to fuel. Just like when you go to a gas pump, go to a gas station, there's different types of fuel. There's fuel that'll get you further with less. There's fuel that'll get you there faster. And so you have to understand the different types of fuel that there are out there for a narcissist. And so, like I said, covert narcissists, and one thing that separates narcissistic personality disorder from the others is the fact that they have the mindset of being the center of attention. They love the attention that they get from. If it's a female, she loves the attention she gets from men. She'll flip her hair, she'll be flirty, things like that to try to get attention from men. And a lot of times when you get a female narcissist or a female person with narcissistic personality disorder, they will have multiple men at the same time. They will literally have and keep them separate. Like literally, will keep them separate. So they'll have multiple men at the same time. They will sabotage relationships to get other men. They will. I mean, there's nothing that they won't do to put themselves up on a pedestal. They'll call their past relationships. If you get in a relationship with somebody and then they talk about their exes and all their exes are narcissists or something like that, you're probably in a relationship with the actual narcissist. They will call other people that. They will accuse other people of being that. One thing that I've heard from people that have experienced dating somebody like this is that they'll have like a weird look on their face. It's like they're happy, right? Your pain makes them happy. They get fuel from your pain. So you see anybody gets fuel from your pain, you probably need to be checking a box and saying, get the heck out of here.
On a pedestal. And because they have to be the focus of attention and admiration at all times, then their relationships are superficial, because in order for a relationship to be healthy, it has to be give and take. One way to control a relationship is to be constantly the giver, constantly the power figure. It takes vulnerability to receive. It takes vulnerability to say you need something from someone. And a narcissist doesn't need anything from anybody because they're godlike. They are a power figure. So they have this superficial, exploitive string of relationships where they never get really close to anybody. And one thing they do not have is empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that means they don't have the ability to stand in your shoes and experience what you might be experiencing, which is okay for them because they don't care about what your experiences are because that's not about them. And they're only interested in those things that are all about them.
100%.
They have what we call an identity disturbance. These people are not really sure who they are. They're always playing a role. They're always thumping their chest. They're always pretending to be something they're not. And so they have a difficult time forming attachments and forming bonds. And
that's a key. So the identity disturbance is key. They don't know who they are. They will change into these different roles, or they'll be like, well, "That's the person I am. That's the person that I've been." Like, if you ever been in a relationship with somebody who says that type of stuff, does that type of thing, and you're just like, "Man, like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, this is the real me." And you're like, "Well, what? So what was the you that we just? What was that one?" And they'll say things like that because they conform themselves to whatever you want, whatever you like. And so when you're giving people like this covert narcissistic person information on yourself, um, they're studying you, right? Their likes will be your likes. If you like to eat pizza, they like pizza too. You like to eat seafood, they like seafood too, right? They may be a Miami Hurricane fan, right? But now they're dating a Florida State Seminole fan, so now they're a Florida State fan all of a sudden. And so they conform to you in the beginning because that's what secures you attaching to them. So hear me out. You, the victim, attaching to them, they will not actually attach to you. They cannot attach to you. They don't have the ability. In order for a person to attach to another person, they have to have empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in that person's shoes. That's part of the attachment in and of itself. So they never attach to anybody. Everything's superficial. They just have relationships. Just have relationships. This guy may suit them for this time frame because this guy has a lot of money. This guy may suit them for this time frame because this guy's good at sex. This guy may suit them at this time frame because their schedules line up better. It could be the most minute things, but they don't attach to any of them. They can jump from guy to guy like it's nothing because they're not attached to anybody. Part of being in a loving relationship, in love with somebody, is that a narcissistic person you got to be able to attach. There's an attachment. Like when you're married, you're attached to your wife. Being away from your wife sucks, right? There's an attachment there. You're not just going to leave your wife just because she did one thing wrong. You did this one thing, so I'm going to leave you. Like there, you are attached to them, right? When you're attached to somebody, if something happens, the relationship breaks off, it's harder to just jump to another person. But when you're not attached, you can have the other person on the line right now. So Billy on your back, you got Billy on your back, and you still dating Tom. And now that you and Tom broke up, that same day, you and Billy are together now. Billy then assume the position. Now this is new man, right? And then once you're done with him, you've already got the other man on your shoulder. So you never attach to any of them. That's how it's easy to just monkey branch from person to person. Narcissistic people will monkey branch from person to person. Just continuing, continuing, continuing. None of the relationships last long. Um, One way to know, I mean, sometimes you'll get a person that will deal with a narcissist for 20-year marriage or whatever, but typically that's the exception to the rule. Most of these relationships are superficial and they do not last long. They do not. Their time frame, their time period is quick. They run out quickly, and so most of these people will have a whole bunch of relationships in a period of time, right? And they all have 4, 5, 6 months. Next guy, couple months. Next guy, come on, and it's crazy because each guy that they get with, or each woman that they get with, is the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's their soul mate. They're all in, 100%. They're all in verbally, but they can't be all in actually, because they cannot actually form an attachment to you. They can't attach to you. You fill a void that they need. Say they want to move to a different state. So they're dating Jerry. Jerry lives in Texas. They meet Bob online. Bob lives in Florida. They're like, I want to live in Florida. They will leave Jerry in the drop of a hat, go to Florida, move in with Bob because they want to live in Florida. So the way that they think like a child, right? Their mindset is that of a child. So they don't look at the broad picture. They look at the minimal picture. It's kind of like when you're talking to a 2-year-old and you ask them if you want this piece of candy or this piece of candy. They go pick this piece of candy. And then you ask them 2 minutes later, you want this piece of candy or this piece of candy. They pick this piece of candy. It's essentially what they're doing over and over again with different people. And so they never form attachments. They like the kid, the toddler doesn't get attached to the Snicker bar. He's just looking for the next piece of candy, right? When the next piece of candy comes, the Snicker bar don't matter no more. On to this one. Or toys. Say toys. I know y'all got kids out there. So your kid's playing with a bear. Say this is the bear. Playing with the bear, playing the bear. Oh, I'm sick and tired of playing with the bear. I put the bear on the shelf. Now I'm going to go play with the Legos. So this is the Legos. Play the Lego, play the Lego. Now I'm tired of the Legos. All right, now I'm going to go play with the little ball pen. So now I'm playing with the ball pen. And they don't always have to go to a new thing. They can go back. They can go back to an X. This guy, oh man, let me go back to this. Let me go back to this X. Play this X for a little bit. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. All right, I'm done with this X. Let me go back to this X. They will recycle and continue to go around and around in a circle. And so that's what they do. That's essentially what happens. I mean, it's crazy. But we're going to stop at this point. And like I said, it's going to break this down in a couple episodes, piece by piece. But yeah, they can't attach. Narcissistic people cannot attach. Borderline personality people, they can't attach either. That's one thing that can go across the pendulum. They can't attach to an individual. They can't do it. Attachment is scary. I will go a little bit in depth on a borderline. So attachment is scary for a borderline because that brings on the fear of abandonment. Because if you attach to a person, they may abandon you. Now you didn't put all your eggs in this basket, so they may abandon you. So they'll say they're attached to you. They'll say that they love you. They'll say that you're the only person for them. But in reality, they're not actually attached to you. You can tell by their actions they're not attached to you. So that's why I tell people you got to read people's actions, not much their words. Because words are easy. You can easily manipulate somebody. You can easily manipulate your words when you're telling somebody, right? You can easily manipulate them with words. With actions, we're watching what you're doing. It's harder to manipulate a person through actions. Your actions will tell the truth. So like I said, they can't attach. It's impossible for them to attach. And so that's something that is a struggle for people, is that people think that they attach to them because they said all these great things about them, but no, they're not actually attached to you. They said the person that said all those great things about you in the beginning, that's not actually who they are. The person at the end who dumps you and kicks you to the curb for the next person, that's who they actually are. It just takes a while to get their mask off. They can hide it for so long, but eventually the mask comes off. But we'll continue this, man. I appreciate you guys rocking with us, listening to us. Like, subscribe, comment, share. If you've experienced this, you can leave comments below and just ask. Even if you got any questions, ask questions about my experiences. Love to talk to you guys. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. GT the Vibe podcast again. I'm out.